So we've developed this TA orientation. It's kind of got a basic purpose of introducing you to policies on campus and resources. It is not, and I really want to stress this, it is not a training. We're going to touch on a lot of really important issues here that you're going to need to research and think about further. And some of your department orientations and teaching will touch on some of these and go deeper. But from the standpoint of getting you oriented to what's available at UM to support you in your teaching, that's kind of what this session's all about. Based on feedback, as I said earlier, we've made some changes, and we also have a couple of short 15-minute inspirational pieces about teaching given by two professors today. It will be Kyle Volk and Kriya Brunner. So sit back, enjoy, ask questions. The most important part of this today is to engage you. This is not a passive thing. We need you thinking really hard about some of the issues, and higher ed is going through a lot of changes, and I'm sure you're aware of them, but implicit bias is a very big concern on campuses nationwide. We're concerned about it here at UM. Again, this is not a training in implicit bias, but we're trying to make you aware there are resources on campus for students who want to follow up in any of those areas. So now that it looks like we're a little bit settled, I'm going to read our University of Montana's official land acknowledgement statement. The University of Montana acknowledges that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish and Kalispé people. We honor the path they have always shown us in caring for this place for the generations to come. And I'd like to follow up by saying the graduate school welcomes Native students from the sovereign tribes of Montana and indigenous peoples from all over North America, including Hawaii, who might be joining us. Of course, we welcome you all. Welcome to UM. Some of you probably, how many of you are brand new to UM? Like this is your first time? Okay, good number of you, all right. And how many of you are kind of familiar with UM from previous, or let's say brand new to being in Missoula, never been here, just moved? Okay, good number as well. Welcome. We're so pleased to have you. This is my favorite time of year. It's so exciting to be in the graduate school, and since the energy that comes from our graduate students, they contribute to this great university in so many amazing ways. You really sit right at, we call our media page Confluence, which if you're in town, you might recognize that photo. That's where the the Clark Fork River and the Rattlesnake Creek come together. But for us, it's a metaphor for what graduate students are. You sit right at the confluence of the great missions of this big public research institution. Many of you will do important research in labs. Many of you will pursue great public professional careers and go back and contribute to the state of Montana or some other part of the United States. And many of you are going to be, as all of you sitting here are going to be, great teachers of our undergrads and great mentors of our undergrads. So welcome. It's so great to see you all and put some faces in the space here. Today, as I kind of told you, we're going to have broken out in a few different panels and with breaks in between and some teaching discussion in between. But again, it's really important that you think of this as an engagement session. If anyone says anything that you want to follow up, raise your hand and ask a question. We want you thinking about this as a chance to kind of probe the ideas and especially the policies we're presenting. Again, some of your departments are going to have follow-up trainings on this. Be sure to tell me some of that on this form if you know that. It's very helpful for the graduate school centrally to know what students kind of are and aren't being exposed to. We moved the event forward to Monday specifically to kind of allow departments to follow up and fill in around the edge of what we're doing. And I think that's all the practical stuff, but I do want to say some big thank yous to these three people here. We're going to start with Kelly Spear. This is someone who you may have already gotten an email from. You probably will get emails from in the future. She, in the graduate school, takes care of contracts and is our IT person. She does everything. She's been here forever, knows the answer to everything. So this is Kelly Spear. Sunshine Gaither is new with us. She's been in the graduate school for about 6 months-ish. Works in applications and admissions, and she's probably someone you've gotten an email from as well. And then finally, and importantly for this event, Cassie Clark She organized all this today. She's amazing. You'll see her in the graduate school smiling every day and helping you with questions. So these three people are crucial to making the graduate school run, and I just want to begin by thanking them. So without further ado, we're going to have our first panel. If you're a panelist, come on up and sit here. I think that's all of our panelists are here. Come on up.
So my name is Marty Ludemann. I'm the chief of police here at the university. With as many new people here in the room, I kind of give you just a thumbnail of what the University Police Department is. We're a fully accredited police department. We're just like the Missoula City Police, Missoula County Sheriff. We have the same trainings, we have the same authority, we have the same arrest authority. But our main mission is the education part. We do a little bit different than a city police department would do because our mission is to create a safe learning environment for our students, faculty, and staff. So we take that very seriously. There's if you get the Grizzly app for your phone, there's a preparedness tile on there. It kind of talks you through some of the major incidents that you may see in alert system, how we alert our students. I really check with your CyberBear account, make sure you're opt into that system, because that's how we notify students, faculty, and staff of an emergency on our campus and what we need you to do. There's 4 basic alerts you're going to hear. The first one is a lockout. So if you get that alert, a lockout means that we're going to lock your exterior buildings. So every building has a building team inside that building with the ability to lock doors. And that could be some type of threat to campus that they may not actually be here, but we just feel safe. We do it a lot at Missoula College because Missoula College is kind of off out there, and they get a lot of things that happen in the city that may influence the environment there at the school, so we'll just kind of lock that down. The second is there's lockout, lockdown. So if you get a lockdown, that's pretty serious. That means you stay in your room, lock the door, barricade the door, stay put if you can. You're going to have a lot of students not knowing what's going on, and they're going to be really, really afraid, and we all should be, because that's pretty. But if you get that, it's going to be pretty directed. We're going to probably have a good idea of what buildings are involved, what's really close, but that would be an active shooter in your vicinity if you hear that kind of a warning. That's pretty significant. So that's something to know. The other one is a shelter in place. Shelter in place is a term that we use for an exterior environmental problem, like we had a derailment and a cloud of chlorine gas comes over the campus. You're just to stay put until we get the all clear. And the last one is evacuation, and that's pretty self-explanatory. That's usually a fire alarm, that type of scenario. And when we ask you to evacuate, we just want you to get out of the building safely and put one other building between you and where you were. So if you have like we're in the UC, we'd probably go the other side of Main Hall just to get a building in between for safety. Those are some of the key things. One of the other things you might want to consider, if you're teaching in a class, do you allow cell phones on or off? I mean, that's a decision, and I'm not in that decision chain. But you might want to consider, if you don't want cell phones on in your classroom, that you have one person or yourself that your phone is on, so in case there is an emergency, you're going to get that notification. That's just something to consider. We talk a lot about that because that's the way we talk. And when we're giving those alerts out, we like to communicate as much as we can. We have a pretty good team put together here on campus that will just continually be updating that alert system. So if you're in that room and it's a lockdown situation and you're in there 5 minutes, it's going to seem like an hour, right? So we try to give you as much information and updates as we can. One of the things that you cannot do is hold a student against their will. If they want to leave and walk out the door, you have to let them go. You can't physically hold them in there. We ask our students to please remain and give us some time, because once you leave that room, especially in a shooting situation, now you're becoming more of a problem and you're becoming draining resources from what we have. I've got 16 officers on our campus. I got 2 canines. Missoula City Police is about 108 strong now, and they're hiring more. They're our big brother. They will come in a drop of a hat. The way you contact us on a hard line on campus is 4,000. On a hard line, we'll get you our emergency number on our dispatch center. But if you can't remember that, 911 is a great option because they will then relay that information to us. So that's a pretty universal way to contact us. I don't know what else I should go through, because if I keep going, I'm going to take everybody's time.
Is that stuff written anywhere about what those?
Yes, it's there. It's on our webpage. You can go to preparedness. We have a webpage landing spot for that. Also, again, on the UM app, it's there too, and it talks you through like earthquake scenarios and some of those things. Oh, one of the other things too is in your classrooms, we've placed kind of a cheat sheet, and it should be either at your podium or maybe next to the door, just particular about that classroom, like maybe where's the closest emergency exits, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, how to exit the building, those sort of things. So if you're in that classroom, you might want to just peruse that piece of paper, and it just kind of gives you a few bullet points there. Oh, you're going to pull that up? I believe so. So, but that's a good thing for you to maybe just to have there. And you might take your first day of class with your students and just take 5 minutes and talk about what would we do if something happens? What would we do if we have an alert like that in this classroom this year? And just maybe start that conversation with your students so you're not trying to ramp up the speed in the middle of an incident. So I think I'll let somebody else speak. But we are a resource to you. If you need us for anything, and you're going to hear a lot here, and if you can't remember who to reach out to for these certain specialties, call us, because we're kind of a clearinghouse. We can get you to the right people to get you the right services and the right support for a student that may be in need. So we can do that.
Thanks. The UM police are awesome. That's a heavy topic, though. So thank you. I will go to the website and refresh my recollection and all that as well. So my name is Lucy Franson. I'm the UM legal counsel. So all the legal work behind everything at the university I touch somehow. So my client is the university. And I want to thank you and congratulate you all. I represent, how do you represent an institution? I represent the institution through its authorized representatives. So you all are really pivoting from being students to having responsibilities. So in some sense, you might interact with me as an authorized representative of the university. I would never represent an individual in your individual capacity. I wouldn't represent a student. I'm not allowed to do that because the institution, again, is my client. So I just want to, there's a lot of information coming at you. So I just want to mention one of the sort of legal obligations to think about. As a student, you have rights to your education records, right? And you have rights to your privacy in those education records. You've probably, how many people have not heard of FERPA? Okay, great. So, okay, well, a couple. So it's a federal law. Essentially, it's the privacy law. And that's the law as students. It allows you, again, to see your education records, all of your, transcripts and your disciplinary records. Hopefully you don't have any. But everything that the institution keeps on you as a student, you have a right to see those. And then you also have a right to make sure that other people aren't seeing those, only people who should see those. So now you're pivoting and you have a responsibility of students, right? And so you have a responsibility, again, to make sure that other people aren't seeing records. You're not going to post, hopefully you won't, post the list of grades or assessment scores on the outside of the your door by name, because other students could see other students' information. So those are the obligations. I'd encourage you to go to the UM training website. There's an online training and go through that. It's very short, just to give you the highlights of your responsibilities in that area. And I'll stop with that. Again, congratulations and thank you for being here.
And good afternoon. My name is Mike Frost. I'm the counseling director over at Curry Health Center. And Curry Health Center has a medical clinic, of course, the counseling clinic. We have a wellness program. We have a person from wellness here who can share a little bit about that, where they do health coaching. We also have a dental clinic so that all of your dental needs can be addressed there, as well as the students that are coming to you and your classes. When you hear about those kinds of health needs, that would be the local place to go. All students who pay a health fee are eligible to come to the services. So that means all of your students, because everybody pays a health fee. So it's quite a wonderful resource, and I suppose in the campuses that you've come from, they also have those resources too. Just a piece about how we can best serve you in your role as a TA. You will have students that will be displaying some troublesome behaviors. You're going to have some concerns perhaps for those students, and you'll wonder, how can I assist them? I mean, our mission, as all the missions here, are to support the students and help them to be in a safe learning environment, to help them access that learning environment, and to do well and succeed. Well, we have counselors who are on call that would be glad to return your phone call if you couldn't get a hold of them right away, to consult about any of the students that you are concerned about, so that you can get a game plan about how do you assist that person. What is it specifically that you can do? Because there's some general ideas about what you can do. We have a faculty toolkit that, again, one of our panelists will tell you a little bit about. But if you want to really go through that, give us a call and we'll talk about those. In terms of mental health work, just so you know, we have individual counseling, we have group counseling. The first session, there is no charge for that. The whole reason for that is to allow students to come in and talk with a therapist and get a game plan about how to move forward with whatever their concerns might be. If they do counseling, like I said, since they pay a health fee, most of that is paid for by the health fee. It's $25 for an office visit. See a physician, see a psychologist, see a counselor, $25. We have a psychiatrist on staff. It costs $35 to see her. It's very affordable. It's a part of our mission is to make it affordable and get people in when they need that. As well, we have same day and next day appointments for people who are in need of urgent services, whether it's a crisis, however that might be defined. If they need to see somebody and don't want to wait, call over and we'll get them in that day or the next day for our next available appointments. And I think that probably summarizes most of what I'd like you just to know about the health services.
All right. My name is Kayli Julius, and I am the health coach at the Curry Health Center out of the wellness office. I work with Mike, and hopefully I'm going to be talking about a less intense topic with you guys and just talk about how health and well-being impacts student success. So recently, the last couple of years, we developed what we call the faculty toolkit, and the toolkit is for you to help you have success in your classroom. There's been a lot of research that has been done about how health and well-being impacts academic success, which I'm sure you all can attest to with your undergrad and other graduate fields, that if you're not healthy and well, it makes it really hard to be successful as a student. So the toolkit, I'll show it up on the website here in a second, but this is what it looks like. And it was developed by Simon Fraser University, and we've kind of made it our own by doing a lot of focus groups with different students and faculty about what they do to make a really positive classroom environment. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about kind of students on campus. 63% of your students rate that their stress is over the amount, specifically tremendous amount of stress in the last year. So we do a National College Health Assessment Survey every 2 years, and we do a lot trying to evaluate the levels of stress and well-being on our campus. So students are really struggling. That's a number one and number two reason that impacts academic success is stress and anxiety. And so this toolkit has been created to help you kind of bring your students together in the classroom. So the main areas that we address in the toolkit are personal development, flexibility, social connection, optimal challenge, positive classroom culture, civic engagement, instructor support, inclusivity, responding to a student in crisis, and self-care for instructors. So there's a lot that I could cover in this toolkit, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how you could use the toolkit in your classroom. So I just kind of made up a scenario of a student that you'd probably see, you're going to see it in your classroom. So, all your classroom sizes will vary, but if a student, I'm just going to name her Jane, starts coming to class and you see the first couple of classes, she's not really raising her hand, she's not engaging with your class. You see her sitting at the back of the class, not really talking to her peers at all. And then 6 weeks later, she stops coming altogether. You reach out to her and she doesn't respond, and then you don't see her for the rest of the semester. I'm just going to talk about a few resources that are in the toolkit that you could do up front when you start your classes to help you prevent that from happening. Obviously, there's really nothing that you can do for some Janes in the world, but maybe if you could do a few of these ideas that we have in the toolkit for you, it could prevent that from happening. So one of the big things that we're trying to promote on campus is social connection. Loneliness is a huge health issue that is kind of crazy, especially on a college campus, that students are really reporting feeling lonely and isolated. And, big classroom sizes, introverts, they can't connect in that way. So an idea that we have is just at the beginning of your class, make it a part of your syllabus, is that you would ask each student to just find a peer and exchange phone numbers. So if they don't see that person in class or they missed a class, they can reach out to someone in the class to get the information so they don't get lost. Another idea is just doing an icebreaker where they just share their name and, maybe some other, where they're from or what they did this summer, just to make it feel like more of a connected space. Other things you can do is other ways for her to engage in class than raising her hand. So, using an eye clicker or other ways to engage that's not so output. Offer opportunities for dropping 2 out of the 3, or, keeping the 2 out of the 3 best quizzes or assignments that really can help a student feel like they can continue to go to class if they're not doing well. And so, again, I could share a lot about the other resources. I just kind of went through a few that I listed. But I also wanted to mention how your health and well-being definitely affects your students in your classroom. And self-care of yourself is really important to us. And like what Mike was saying at the Curry Health Center, we support not only your students, but you. I am the health coach, so I serve students in helping them be healthy and well. We have an academic certificate in health behavior coaching that I have a team of peer health coaches. The health coaching program is free for all students. So that's a really great resource. And we are not counselors, but we can help support students in stress and sleep habits, time management, kind of everything that goes into a healthy and well person, and hopefully prevent them from getting to a crisis and with the rest of this team. It's an individual program, so it's, we sit down, everything is confidential, and we can help students succeed in that way. So we're a great resource to refer students to. The information about all the resources is in this toolkit, and I can show you exactly how we get it on the website as well. Do you guys have any questions for me? The health center? Okay, I'm just gonna. There are personal trainers. Is that like exercise? Yeah. So through campus recreation, I'm not sure if they're on the agenda or not, but that is not out of the health center. It's out of the campus rec. And that's also a service that I think you have to pay extra for, but everyone has access to the campus recreation site. And then you're going to go to wellness. And then under wellness, there's a student wellness advocate tab, which I could talk about too, I guess. Could talk about so many different things. And then under that, you'll see the faculty toolkit where you'll see the PDF where you can download. And I will just say that Julie Stearns is another health promotion specialist out of our office, and this is kind of her project. Her daughter is a new student going to NAU, so she's at her daughter's student orientation today, so I'm kind of filling in for her. But we all can help you out of our office. But this is on the website, and it's pretty lengthy. All those resources I was referring to are in here. So, yeah. Yeah.
Have they had training for size inclusive care? Because I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable recommending a student see someone who's just going to tell them to lose weight if that's not the issue.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So Health and wellness coaching is an industry that's not currently regulated, but health and wellness coaches should never tell anyone what to do. It should always be self-directed. But I would say Curry Health Center as a whole, we really try to listen to students and what they want. So no matter what their size is, I would hope that no provider at Curry Health Center would tell someone what to do unless they wanted to do it. Yeah. So I believe the financial education program is no longer, but I guess I don't believe so. Okay. Okay. So the Office for Student Success, which career counseling, career services, and financial education program is housed within there, they should be able to help you get that student with the resources that they need. And I know that's a huge Office for Student Success. And Sarah Schwager, who oversees the Student Affairs Department. Yeah. But also, I would say with health coaching too, we can sit down with that student and help them create a budget, figure out. I've done a lot of personal coaching with students, and sometimes, unfortunately, the struggles are kind of what they're spending their money on the weekends and other things. So, there could be other work that we could help them with too. Okay.
Hi, I'm Chris Fiore. I'm co-chair of the behavior intervention team, and I'm going to show you how to get to our page because we have a form, and I'll explain what we do on campus. One of the things you should know is that Mike and Kelly and Marty are all part of the behavior intervention team. You can do it? So, behavior intervention teams started post-Virginia Tech. The idea being that on campus, we should be able to work together and understand students who need assistance. As TAs, like Mike said, you might have students who are having mental health or psychological issues. And you also may have students that may or may not be what's going on, but they're difficult, they're consuming a lot of time, or they're disruptive in class. The behavior intervention team can be seen as a care team or as ensuring campus safety and education to proceed. So we meet weekly. We're not an emergency response. If you need a response immediately, you call the police at 4000 or 911 if you can't remember that. If it's clearly, yes. Yes. It's a good concern. Marty, do you want to respond?
Especially if you call and voice that type of concern, I mean, that can be up front for us. We may send myself, which is usually not in a uniform, and maybe have a soft encounter there. We do have a couple of us every day that are but after 5 o'clock, all my guys are uniformed up. A lot of them are trained in critical incident response. But again, just the appearance of them in uniform can be triggering and start something. So if we can know that up front, it's really helpful for us. And maybe we can do it a little softer than just surprise. So.
And part of what the behavior intervention team does, if it's not an emergency, is we discuss among each other. We find out as much information we would call a person referring, and I'm going to show you the form in a minute. And we talk with you and anybody else who's aware of the student and their needs about what is the best approach. So we really aren't all about, that's why we're not emergency response. We may find that somebody's working closely with the Veterans Office, and they're best to be managing or addressing whatever the concerns are, or counseling, or DSS. What we do is we try to make it so that student can be successful, and the classroom or the faculty or staff or TAs can be successful. The whole idea is to manage this, whatever it is, instead of have it dominate what's going on, say in the classroom or behind the scenes. The first thing, though, as TAs would be, you would always want to consult with your chair or your supervisor, unless it's an emergency. Like if there's something happening in your classroom that you need an emergency response, we're not it, because we're not emergency. Police is it. So I'm going to show you just our form to get you an idea. So here it shows that, thanks. We ask for your name, but some people want to remain confidential, and we work hard if you want to remain confidential about your referral. And we want to know as much information as possible, but you can also contact us without a form just to talk about, is this bit worthy, is what a lot of people talk about. And sometimes in a phone call, I'll say, you know what, it's going to be quicker to get in touch with counseling services, or have you tried DSS, or have you talked to your chair? So involve parties, students of concern, questions. Please check all that apply for the type of incident you're reporting. So you can see the range from malicious intimidation or harassment and threatening statements, has concerning or worrisome behaviors but refuses to seek help. There's quite a range there, and we do a lot of discussion of what's the best thing, and a lot of the time we'll get a referral and we'll decide, you know, I think we should get resources together before the behavior intervention team intervenes. If the behavior intervention team intervenes, students most of the time will get an email and a letter from us saying, we're concerned about your behavior, we've had referrals, you need to meet with me or Sandy or me and Mike or me and Marty. We'll figure out a team of people to meet. You can come at this time and place, and we'll talk with you about the behaviors that are being reported to us. And we want to be able to figure out what's the best next step for this student. So if a student doesn't come to that, we also tell them in the letter that if you don't come to our meeting, then you may be in trouble, okay? Because sometimes students, of course, don't want to talk with us, and that's part of the problem. So we're really trying to manage and help students be successful. And we get referrals all year. We'll get referrals spring, fall, and summer. And sometimes it's about managing students with other students. Sometimes it's managing students in the classroom. Sometimes it's students outside of the classroom. Sometimes it's not students. And if it's not students, we don't manage it. We only manage when there are concerns with students. Is there anything I'm leaving out? It may end up in conduct. That's another thing, which Kelly, are you going to talk a little bit about that? So Kelly Magnuson will talk next. And if things, what oftentimes is, BIT will come up with a plan. So a plan might involve going to counseling. A plan might involve getting an assessment to see what types of needs the student has and following through on those recommendations. And or referral to conduct, where conduct might have a consequence. And basically the team works together, and we even consult all the way up to Lucy on what's the best way to manage these situations. And the team will follow through as best we can, communicating as we can with whoever referred to us on recommendations. So we might have recommendations for you as a TA on how to manage this situation. So we're really trying to be supportive to faculty and staff and TAs so that you can manage a difficult situation better, okay? Ready? Where? Question. Okay, yes. Do we, Marty?
Yes. One of my lieutenants, he's my training officer, has some programs set up of de-escalation and how to handle difficult situations. Just contact myself or the department, and we can set something up for you if you'd like.
And we meet with departments a lot. So we will meet with an entire department in order to talk about how BIT can help you, how to manage situations. So it's something that we do on a regular basis. Is that another question? Yes.
They are for me. No, all Montana campuses, you cannot have any open carry or concealed unless you're a certified law enforcement officer. That's the only people that are allowed to have. You can bring a rifle, a hunting rifle, or handgun even to campus, but in the resident halls, they have to check it in with us. We put it in a vault, so it's that way. The villages, the apartments complexes, you can have a weapon in those, but you have to register them with the office out there. But just to have a gun on campus, no.
Yes. So probably nothing BIT related. Are we talking more about discrimination? You want to talk about that?
I think you're going to have other people in a later panel talk about that. The Title IX coordinator will talk about that, as will Drew Calling, who's the director of SARC, the Student Advocacy Resource Center, and they'll talk. But the short answer to your question, as an employee, you are a mandatory reporter for Title IX purposes.
Right. But one of the differences there is a campus security authority, and it's difficult to keep it all straight. But campus security authorities are mandatory reporters if they oversee like a student group of some kind, more than just a teaching relationship. If you're a teacher, you're not a CSA for crime reporting. But if you're like a guidance counselor in a group, you are. One of the things that may happen, you're going to have great relationships with your students, and they're going to trust you and probably disclose maybe some things that have happened to them. You don't have to bring that forward, but what I would ask is that you at least offer SARC to them, Title IX office. It's difficult for them to come forward to the police because it's hard to come talk to us. But at least offer them that type of help to at least start that conversation for them. But you don't have to bring that information forward in that teaching environment as far as Cleary is concerned. Again, Title IX will talk to you a little bit about mandatory reporting.
It's a little different for Title IX than Cleary.
Yes.
So don't be confused. And I don't want to.
I'm confused, so.
Yeah. Yeah. We overlap a lot, but we try to keep it separate for your sake. So behavior intervention team is not mandatory reporting. If we get something that's a mandatory report, we would send it to the Title IX office for managing. Other questions? Because these are all good questions. And we work with students all the time. Yes?
So like if you intervene with a student, you come up with a plan, and that plan involves some sort of like financial expense, let's say going to the Curry Health Center, are there financial resources available for these people, for these students who are doing counseling sessions and stuff like that? And what some people don't have that capability necessarily, although it is affordable for most.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about how you manage them, because there's different levels.
So if a person were asked by the behavior intervention team to get a behavioral assessment, then the Curry Health Center would pay for that assessment. Usually takes about 3 visits with a psychologist. If they were asking them to do counseling, then we would sit down and talk with them, but generally the students are responsible for that fee. There is a student group on campus called Mental Health Allies, and they raise some money to help offset those fees for some of the students. And so we would talk with them about that as well. So we try to not have the fees be a barrier, but it's a conversation for sure, yeah.
There was a lot of confusing information, and I guess just one thing, I'll just jump in. I like the slide of the person with their head in the sand, because I think don't do nothing. I mean, there's a team of people here, and if it's not in my bucket, if it's not in Mike's or in Marty's or Kelly's or Chris's, we'll get you to the right person. If you have a question, I have a student I'm concerned about, but I'm concerned about finances, or I'm concerned about the response. Don't do nothing. I'm concerned about am I mandatory? Should I be reporting this? You can ask anybody. I think that, or ask your chair, just don't do nothing.
Yeah, that's a great point,
I would
Lucy.
agree.
And one of the things, again, I emphasize is that we're 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, 365-day service for this campus. So if it happens at 9 o'clock in the evening and just you need to reach out to like Mike at the Curry Health Center or have a question, call us. We'll put you in touch with them. That's how we work together and can make these resources available at all hours. So use us as a clearinghouse, basically.
I have a question kind of more for you. What's the policy of like previous students or people that are not enrolled to be in particular labs on campus or particular buildings on campus? Is it just an open classroom? Can anybody show up, or do they have to be like registered for a class to be into a particular room, or are they unauthorized?
Yeah, I'm not positive. I know that there are some restrictions. I'm just not up on that. We do monitor students that may be asked not to come back, but just if you have somebody show up that hasn't paid to be there, I think that's more on the academic side than my side, unless I'm called in to physically maybe remove them at some point.
Yeah, the short answer, it's your classroom. Essentially, you get to control your classroom. If there's a concern about that and you have somebody that's not on your list, talk to your chair about that, and then you'll manage it that way.
I want to hand it over to Kelly. And are there any other questions? Because behavior intervention team, like I said, you would get potentially any of us, because we are going to talk to each other about how to manage this. But I agree with Lucy. Don't do nothing. We sometimes have been called in late, and we wish we were called in earlier, because sometimes it gets a lot bigger, and it could be managed when it's smaller. So that's what I would recommend.
Hello, I'm Kelly Magnuson. I'm actually housed in UM Housing, but we've moved. There's no longer a Dean of Students office. All of the university conduct now comes over to the housing office. We have a staff over there. It'll primarily be me, but I have some other staff who can help me. If you have students in your class who are in our housing areas, whether that be our apartments or our residence halls, that staff can assist me if we're having a disruptive problem, or maybe they just need to connect better on campus and it could help you out in your class. I just pulled up the website. It has the conduct code there. I think you're gonna get academic misconduct later with Nathan. But if you have some stuff that doesn't really fit in that academic world, but it is disruptive behavior, I would encourage you to fill out the form. It's very similar to the form that Chris just put up. If it's not quite a conduct matter, but maybe is for the BIT team, we all work together, so I can make sure that gets to BIT. I wouldn't worry about which form you filled out if you got the wrong form. We all work close enough together, we can decide, is it more of a conduct issue? Is it a student in crisis and we need to get them some other help? Okay? Yes.
Because it's currently under risk of being not covered by Title IX, are transgender students protected under the community standards?
Yes. Any other questions? Okay.
So great questions. And again, we're going to fold sessions. Some of the topics we hit today, in this first session, will reappear in the second and third, and we'll have a chance to ask about Title IX, for example. But in the meantime, this panel has done great work. Let's thank them for joining us today. We have a guest star who just appeared in the hallway, and so we're going to bring him up first before you meet Kyle Volk. This is the graduate dean, Scott Wittenberg.
Yeah, thank you all for coming to University of Montana. I'm trying to remember back when I had my TA orientation, which was probably 1937 or something. And I think it was 5 minutes long. They showed a video and they said, go out into the world. And so I was left to flounder and sort of figure out how to do instruction on my own, and no level of resources and support that I think that we show here. The thing I wanted to add to, indeed really thanking you for being here because you're an integral part of the institution, is that there are other levels of support at the institution than what you'll hear here, and please reach out to them all the time. You've got the program that you're going to be with, and there will be a program coordinator with the program, the department, and the graduate school. We are there all the time. We have great people in there that know all the rules and regulations and ways to find assistance and so on. So if there's ever a question you don't know who to go to, please come to the graduate school and ask us. We're there to help. There's, I guess, Kyle, there's very few faculty members around, so I can say this. We have the bully pulpit of, when you have problems with a faculty member or with your department, we're probably the person that has the impravada to be able to argue with them and try to get something done. So please, if you get into a difficult situation, don't flounder. Don't get to the point where it seems hopeless. Reach out to the graduate school and we'll see what we can do for you. So thank you all for coming.
And just to follow up on something that's been said repeatedly, but I want you to be able to eyeball this on the graduate school webpage. We may move this to a slightly different location. We're kind of in the process of adding resources. We were trying to give a central place where you can get a lot of these resources. So on the grad school page now, that is this orientation page, which on the main page, it'll be under new students and orientation, and then you'll see this TA orientation teaching resources. All of the agenda items for today have live links out to the websites. They're not going to necessarily go straight to like the BIT referral, but it'll get you to that office's webpage. So we're going to update this as we go along, but this will stay up. This agenda will stay up. So for your memory, you'll be able to come back to this. Oh yeah, that first panel, you can identify the people, Kelly's in there, Kayli. We will keep updating this. And then at the end of the day today, we're going to have an announcement about a new resource that's going to be available in professional development for teachers to graduate students this year. And so you'll be able to, that will also be linked here on the page. Short version of it is it will come to you on Moodle as an extra course. When you log into Moodle, you'll be able to enroll in a teaching development course for those of you who feel like you need further teaching development. So it'll be a little bit more discussion of that later today.